Great. Hello, everyone. My name is Bill Salmon. I'm a professor at Harvard Business School, where I've been on the faculty for over 40 years. I teach a course called Entrepreneurial Solutions to World Problems, focused on education, healthcare, and climate. I've been involved with Rapid SOS for quite a few years, and indeed have written a case about them that I taught last Friday. We're joined today by Chris Manowitz. Chris is with NTT Docomo and is coming to us from Japan. And we're going to talk a bit about corporate venture capital and really about what's going on in the world of public safety, but also in technology entrepreneurship, and how companies, how ventures and large companies interact, the degree to which they can get value-added investment from those companies, and the degree to which they can navigate amongst very large enterprises as they go about creating value for society and creating value for their shareholders. So, Chris, why don't you introduce yourself, give a little bit of background?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first, it's a pleasure to be here speaking with you, Bill, at the Ready23 conference. As you mentioned, I'm with NTT, actually NTT Docomo Ventures. We're the corporate venture capital arm of NTT Group, which, for those who don't know, is a global technology company, a massive global technology company, headquartered in Japan with a long storied history. I can provide you a little bit of additional color. We operate majority of Asia's internet backhaul. We are the largest mobile operator in Japan, one of the largest data center operators globally. We have 340,000 employees all around the world. Revenues close to 120 billion. So it's a massive organization. And so I'm in our venture capital arm supporting strategic investments in startups. And Rapid SOS is one of those companies that we were very excited to invest in and working on partnering with.
And where are you based, and where
yes,
are you
I am,
looking? You work globally.
Yes, I am normally in Silicon Valley. I do travel from time to time to Japan. I am there presently at 1 a.m. And actually, we have quite a few meetings set up this week for Rapid SOS, and we can dive into that with various partners, municipal agencies, and so forth. And I focus on U.S. investments in predominantly enterprise software companies, but with a variety of different flavors. So looking at vertical SaaS solutions, cloud and infrastructure, but more and more sustainability and climate and public safety fits very much into that latter area for us. It's very important.
And what's the mission of the venture group per se, and how does it relate to the mission of the parent company?
Yeah, so we, I think I can provide a little bit more context about NTT Group. NTT originally started as the Nippon Telegraph and Telephony Company in, I believe it was a little bit before 1890, I think. So we have, I think, 125 years of history. And it was only privatized in 1985. And so built into the mandate of NTT Group was, providing equitable and reliable communication services for all of Japan. And everything kind of grew from there. So if you think about communications and connectivity as now a very core part of all of our lives, a core part of providing emergency response and other services like that. So this is a really kind of a key thing for us. And so NTT, as I said, has evolved quite a bit from there, running largest data centers in the world, developing solutions for most of the Fortune 500 companies. And so we align with our different business units and different operating companies on providing them with interesting technology solutions, aka startups, that can bring an impact to their business on various time horizons. Sometimes we're looking for things in 1 to 2 year impact, 3 to 5 year, but this is the venture business. We're looking for 5, 10 year mega opportunities, mega disruptions, and things that are going to have a lasting impact. So as I said, I kind of align with the different opcos and support them with investments.
And as are you measured on the degree to which you support the overall strategy, or is it partly based on the financial returns? Are you trying to make 10 times your money in 5 years, or how would you describe the interplay between strategic and financial?
Yeah, so our mandate is a dual mandate to generate returns, good financial returns, and the strategic side. Sometimes it's hard for me to say which one is easier or which one's harder. Some people would argue that the strategic is actually the harder part. But when you have great companies like Rapid SOS, actually things work out quite well.
Chris, if I think about the world of communication, so we now have billions and billions of sensors. We have billions of smartphones of various varieties. We have massive cloud capability, which has enabled us to do things we never would have imagined, because it provides this unlimited storage, much less costly than doing it in a storage center one by one. So how do you look at that entire technology tectonic shift and try to figure out what's really important for the next 5 or 10 years?
So I think you touched on maybe a technology question there, which sounded a little bit like cloud and edge computing, and also a kind of value question there. I'll tackle that one, because I think this is really important for startups and enterprises to really understand their core customer. In the case of public sector, right, the core customer is us, the citizens, whose lives matter. For enterprises, obviously, they are serving the public sector. In NTT's case, we in the US, as I mentioned, we're a global company with a large presence in the US. We serve 90 plus federal agencies, 35 states, many cities and municipalities. So for the folks in NTT Data that are serving those customers, they need to really understand what are the key problems, challenges, and what solutions fit well for them. And so that's obviously a very tricky thing to make broad generalizations or extrapolate from individual data points, how we should be investing and viewing the future. But in general, I think the themes, as we briefly mentioned, edge and cloud, are quite important here, right? Because edge computing, while it had a little bit of a tough time for a couple years, I think is back. And cloud really continues its massive growth. And so utilizing both of those technologies, those modalities, you can deliver best in class sort of solutions for your customers. And I'll just give you a concrete example kind of to tie it all together. So NTT is a great partner with the city of Las Vegas. And we've developed a really interesting platform for them that leverages IoT sensors, HD cameras, other types of sensors, and integrations to other sort of data platforms. And that's all actually, the processing is done on local edge servers. We're additionally pushing information data up to the cloud to do various things there. But the idea is that we can deliver in real time really mission critical data to public safety, public service officers. If there's an accident, if there's an event, how are they going to respond? They need to have that data in milliseconds. Things later that you can process, analytics that happens in the cloud. So it's kind of the beautiful amalgam of in public safety arena, these many different technologies, AI, data, cloud, and edge. So we're very excited about what we're doing and what other companies and startups are doing.
Yeah, and it's increasingly critical for whether you're in the police department, fire department, coming with an ambulance, to know a lot more about what's going on in real time, to anticipate and therefore be able to respond in the most efficient and effective way. And I think it's great for the safety of the providers and great for us as citizens to be able to integrate that information and be able to act sensibly on it. So it's a huge shift, I think, in the ability to be responsive. I see that Farah is joining. Farah, how are you? You're on mute, Farah.
Yes, you are right. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. So we've been talking a little bit about NTT broadly, how the corporate venture capital arm works. Maybe you could describe the situation at Honeywell and what you are trying to accomplish and how you work with ventures, public safety, and with the parent company.
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, Farah Papiwanu from Honeywell Ventures, and we're like any other CVC. We're trying to leverage outside startups to help us ourselves grow organically. I know venture capital can run the gamut from financial to strategic. I would say Honeywell is well on the strategic side. And though we care about financial returns, what we really care about is how can the startups in question really add value and help us grow to the next level. And I think that, in particular, Rapid SOS has been really great in that capacity. And I think there's a lot we have done with them, and there's a lot more we can do with them. And I'm really excited about that from a public safety standpoint. Given that Honeywell touches the world of sensors, right? We're in front of buildings, oil and gas, and processing plants, anything on the industrial front, warehousing. Safety is a big part of all of those components. So, yes, absolutely, public safety plays a huge role in what we look at, particularly when you think about what happened recently with Maui and the spate of fires. And I think, people are really worried about how do we keep ourselves safe in buildings in particular. So,
yeah, and make sure you get the right response to the right place in the least amount of time so that you can, I'm sure the damage goes exponentially with time.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Therefore particularly important to have intervention. Maybe I'd ask about AI. So I'm doing a case study with Khan Academy where Sal Khan is trying to create a chat GPT, a GPT-4 based personal tutor for everyone in the world. And so thinking about how you're going to leverage these new information processing technologies to accomplish that goal you set, which is deliver better outcomes for citizens and for all of the organizations, the PSAPs, everyone involved on the public safety side. Great
question. There is so much we can do on that front. If you think about public safety in particular, we have so many different data sets that are out there. I mean, take, for a car, for an example, the Sirius provides data on the car. The car itself has data on itself. The individuals in the car wear Apple Watches. Google has data on that particular instance. So if we were able to take all of that data and munge it together, we would have a lot more we would have a lot more information about what happened in that individual instance, right? And so when we send out 911 response, it's not just a one size fits all. We can tailor that such that we're not sending out what happens regularly. It's fairly inefficient. We'll send out, we'll send out a fire engine when there's no fire. There will not have enough people sent out, so then they'll call for backup. And every time we're not responding to it immediately, every time a minute goes by, there are more lives that are lost. So one example of how ChatGPT or AI could help. Well, first of all, if you took all of those data sets together and you ran an AI model over it, ChatGPT could begin to sort of understand what would happen in that incident, let 911 know, begin to pre-answer 911 questions, because those will follow a script depending on what's happening, right? It's going to be a different script based on the car accident, depending on the severity of the car accident. We could already begin to do that, saving really valuable time. In the event of, many incidents are not done by phone calls, but are done by alarms. We could use AI to determine whether or not those alarms are real alarms, because in the case of an alarm, it takes 46 minutes or 42 minutes, rather, sorry, for 911 to respond, because first it has to go through a call center, and the call center has to verify that it's a real call. All of that data has done in an analog fashion. Imagine if we could just say, well, using AI, it's just that one alarm. And historically, we know it's, gone off once a month. Well, maybe we're going to take that one less seriously. Or if we saw that not that alarm went off, but we're seeing a propagation of alarms, and we are able to bring that data together, then we say, hey, that's a real emergency, right? Or even if we were to say, hey, in the event of taking an alarm and we take other sensor data like temperature, air quality, and say, oh, okay, well, I'm starting to see like these other things go off. Now we can have a better mechanism than just having some person on the other end of a phone to verify whether or not this is a real emergency.
Or it sits next to, is sort of the idea of a tutor. It sits next to the person and leverages what's going to happen and improves the overall performance. So
we don't need people. What we need is to give them more information, right? And we need to help them become smarter. People are always going to be a part of the journey and the story, but we can always do more to help them. My job is still here. No AI can do that, right? And so I think AI can help me do my job better, and that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Chris, is that your view as well?
Yeah, I think Farah gave a really good example there. I think Farah is probably closer to this problem than I am. I mean, this is a key use case, right, of Honeywell's sensors and systems. Similar things, are happening, I would say, on the NTT side. As I mentioned, the Las Vegas, kind of use case and example, but things across Japan and Asia. We all know Japan is prone to disasters, right? Earthquakes, tsunamis, floods. So we are really mindful about delivering these mission critical solutions, and they have to work all the time. And AI is a key part of that, right? Predictive capabilities helps save lives by better allocating of resources, and that's just a key part of it, right?
So if I let's say I have a great idea and I built a prototype and a team, I've got a SaaS operation, I have some unique attributes. How do people approach you guys, and what's the process of getting to yes? How does that all work?
Yeah, I mean, you can approach us just by email, LinkedIn, from knowing people who know me and saying, hey, can you take a look at my idea? That's usually the best way to get into a venture capitalist. The cold emails will sometimes work, but knowing someone who knows someone is always the best. And then from there, we would evaluate, is this strategic for Honeywell? We would pass that. Once we go through that filter, I would sort of take it to a business that I think would find this interesting, see if they agree. And then, if we get to both of those to say yes, then, it's not too difficult to get to a yes. Although that agreement is usually the part that takes the longest. And obviously there's more to it than that. We'll evaluate the company, go through and figure out how we work together with them, And for Honeywell in particular, we don't like making investments without a commercial agreement in place. And, that might seem like more steps to go through, but in actuality, it's good for us and it's good for the company, because it's great to get venture capital investment, right? But you pay for that. You give up ownership. It's so much better to get a customer who says, yeah, or a partner like Honeywell that says, yeah, I like this and I want to use this. And either you sell through with us and get the scale of Honeywell to help grow your business, or it becomes part of our infrastructure, which again helps you scale your business. So I think that's obviously a good step. And then we found.
Sure. Chris,
I would echo exactly that. So please shoot me an email, connect with me on LinkedIn. But Farah's point, is right. Like, in terms of NTT, we do look for a certain maturity with the startups, right? We're typically investing, on occasion we'll do Series A's, but we're kind of a Series B investor. That means the company has, beyond an MVP, right? It has product market fit and has, alluding to what I discussed earlier, customer value. In this case, I think each of these customers is big potentially, right? We're talking about governments, municipalities. They have, believe some people don't realize they actually have access to a lot of money. It has to be lobbied for, perhaps, but so product, customer, fit. The additional thing I would say is that when you're thinking about working with a partner, there's different kinds of partnerships. Obviously, it's technology partnerships versus services, right? Solution versus just a reseller versus, okay, you're working with a consultant, right? In lieu of direct sales. So you need to consider what kind of partner, and what's the right model. It's sometimes tricky to achieve large scale and distribution from kind of like a purely services partnership, but the technology side involves deeper collaboration, deeper co-working together, and startups need to think about that, right? Have built-in margin for their partners in the right ways. So we do, as I said, kind of invest in companies that are likely that we can take them to Japan within a couple of years, and that has its own unique challenges, right? Localization, support, etc. For the U.S. market, right? It's companies, we could be looking at companies a little bit earlier.
So I know we're getting a little short on time, so maybe first of all, what you've said is you need to think about the strategic fit. Is Honeywell or NTT or a large organization a customer, an ally? Does it have relationships that can be leveraged for both parties? And I think it has to work for both parties for it to really be feasible. And it's beyond that startup. It's you've got some proof, and then you can expand geographically, or you can expand across, a Honeywell that has so many different divisions, expand across the organization. So if I asked you each, what's the hottest idea out there that you're most excited about?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, AI, you already hit on top of, and generative AI in particular, is obviously like a topic du jour right now. I mean, AI has been around for a long time, but I'm glad that people are really focusing on it, with the whole excitement around generative AI and ChatGPT. But Honeywell is really big on sustainability, and so that's a really big area for us as well. I mean, we touch everything that produces carbon. Buildings are a huge generator of carbon. We already know about the normal stuff. Oil and gas processing. I mean, outside of cars, aero, we touch that as well. Outside of cars, we pretty much touch everything, and so that provides us as a huge opportunity to really make an impact on the world's carbon footprint, and that's something we're really heavily committed to and focused on. So I would say, those are two areas that we're really excited about.
Yeah, Chris.
Yeah, I think I 100% agree on the sustainability thesis. I think there's so much there. It's not just some people pick up decarbonization and maybe energy transformation. There's so much more around sustainability. And the other piece I would say is I can do a little shout out to the new investment we've done that just got announced today, but it's called Hayden AI, and it's a mobile perception platform. And so this is something that we're particularly excited about, is AI powered solutions that not only improve improve the cost structure or reduce costs for the customers, but potentially double, triple, increase revenue, maybe an order of magnitude. Hayden's a full stack computer vision solution that mounts on buses and other vehicles, and it goes around and checks, are you violating some traffic codes, right? In particular, bus lane enforcement, right? And that's an accessibility issue. But at the same time, what they're doing is they're mapping the world, right? And so the cities are getting this data, a digital twin, and that can inform a huge number of potential solutions and optimizations for how they deliver their services to their customers, which are us, the citizens. So that's what I'm very excited about. AI powered everything.
Well, just to wrap up and thank you both. I started this course, Entrepreneurial Solutions to World Problems, because they're an infinite supply of problems. And fortunately, entrepreneurs view problems as opportunities. And so whether it's our carbon footprint or our safety profile or efficiency, getting every kind of resource we need to the right place at the right time, I think it's a win-win situation for us as citizens and then as investors. And encourage everyone to think about those kinds of players. And I think in Chris and Farah, you see people who are passionate about what they're doing and what their parent organization can bring to the party.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I was just going to say, I think it's been a really interesting journey to see how we can actually, from under the covers, really like be in the forefront of actually helping people out in the real world, whether it be sustainability or public safety.
And I would say that our investment in Rapid SOS was in part because of the great work that the whole team has done for quite a while, but it's also the future, potential of the platform. So, this doesn't exist in, most countries in the world, right? In Japan, it doesn't. We're talking with the appropriate groups to, try to get Rapid SOS become the de facto kind of standard, for this in Japan, and take it everywhere. I think that's the goal, is to bring these solutions to more and more people.
And I could echo the excitement that we also have at Honeywell for Rapid SOS. I mean, I would say that it's definitely one of my favorite investments, and the team is always thinking about new ideas of innovation. It's not just about what we invested in. It's a continuous onslaught of new ideas on how to improve, public safety, which there's so much there from a technology standpoint that can make our lives better. And that excites me.
So I would close by saying, entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart. It's hard. It always takes longer. It always takes more money. It takes more human resources. But on the path to success, I think, is figuring out how to work productively with the public sector and with larger established organizations. And when you can do that, you can change the world. So I think we probably have run out of time, and I appreciate your sharing your thoughts with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime.